Collect Pond was not just a pond, and that was a problem. It's part of how this area became New York City's very first slum. So there had been a freshwater pond here in Lower Manhattan long before European colonists arrived in the 1600s. But not long after, the growing city polluted that pond beyond recognition. Rather than cleaning it up, they drained the water out. They filled it in with dirt and trash and built a middle upper class neighborhood over that pond as if it never existed. But the pond didn't just disappear, it got its revenge. Turns out that pond was fed by an underground spring, so there was still water down there, festering. So the earth here began to drop as the ground sort of regurgitated that decomposing pollution. It smelled awful. It was muddy that destabilized the building, so cracks in the walls and leaks in the ceilings. Bugs and bad water made people sick, so anyone who could afford to moved anywhere else. Folks who could not afford anywhere else, marginalized communities, had to make what was then called 5 Points their home. Initially free Black New Yorkers, then Irish immigrants, some German, later Italian. Little Italy is still nearby, though the area is predominantly Chinatown today. The city did eventually fix the drainage/decaying earth issue, but not for another 80 years, so an entire lifetime. It wasn't until a journalist named Jacob Riis published a book called How the Other Half Lives. Using a painfully early version of flash photography, Riis was able to document the otherwise unfathomable living conditions of folks in 5 Points. It wasn't until seeing it with their own eyes that activists and authority demanded a redevelopment. The spring was equipped with proper drainage, the pond area thoroughly cleaned, paved over, and after a couple other incarnations, eventually part of it became Collect Pond Park in the surrounding Civic Center. Now, I wish I could tell you the pond is always kept entirely clean today, but that would not be the case. What I can say is some of the plants are starting to come in. So even despite its murky history, Collect Pond can still be a beautiful spring.